Caroline Baudino, welcome to Pretty Smart.
I'm so happy to be here. Thank you for having me.
Like, you lit up the room.
Oh, stop. I love being here and you look so beautiful. And I just want to say to everyone, this is your color.
Okay, huge compliment coming from you. I've never been so stressed as to what to wear because I knew you were going to bring it.
Do you know that so many people will say that of just like, I added so many more necklaces. And I was like,
this doesn't really call for a necklace. I'm
going to give you you need a stack.
I do, huh?
I'm going to get you a stack. We're going to start your stack.
Okay, so people come for the fabulous jewels and the fabulous clothing, but you say they stay for the hard truths.
Yep.
I was going to say they stay for the inspiration and advice.
Thank you. Sometimes you're like the motivation, like, just because it's like, you talk about things that most women aren't really willing to admit or talk about, which I'm really proud of because I was one of those women.
Yeah.
And I didn't always talk about everything. And I think we grow up being like, everything's supposed to be so secretive, like finances, like, what's going on in your marriage, all of that. And I'm always like, it was so freeing. I think that was a pivotal point in my life when I was able to say it all. It took all that shame away or all that, like what people think. I was like, I don't care.
So you weren't always a truth teller?
Always a truth teller, but I don't think I was always telling everybody, like I wasn't telling people about my credit cards or I wasn't talking about business, like never. Do you know what I mean? Like we might talk about advice. Like I was definitely always the therapist. I was everyone's therapist, always. Like people have always called me to tell me all of their problems and I love it. I'm a good listener. I really enjoy it. And I studied psych. Yeah. So, and I, was going to go to NYU for my master's. So therapy is something that I love. So I think there's something I've always been a good listener. I'm always honest about my opinion. I'm brutal when it comes to honesty, but I don't think I was always so open about everything that went on in my parents' lives or how we grew up or a lot of the hard. I don't think we admit or talk about.
So what changed?
COVID. And it was weird. So my dad got, almost 8 years ago now, my mom calls me one day, and this is really how it began. And I think this is what triggered my brain. I got a phone call one day. I was, 2 kids under the age of, a 2 and a 4-year-old, no help, stressed out of my mind, going through menopause. So gaining weight, not feeling like myself, hot flashes, moody, like truthfully, you do not feel like yourself. It's scary. And imagine for your partner because you do kind of change. So there was all this kind of stress. I don't think I was like feeling my best, looking my best. I was just getting by. And it's sad to think now because I'm like, thank God I didn't stay there. Like I am just like so grateful that I woke up. But one day I'm in the middle of like, taking care of the kids, whatever.
You felt like you were sleepwalking?
A zombie.
Yeah.
I was a zombie walking through life. Like, was I enjoying myself? I don't know. Like, was I really happy? Did I really want to be at school volunteering all the time and being the art teacher when I can only draw a stick figure? Like, I was kind of like, I was, always with the kids and at school. And I thought that was the only way to be a good mom.
Yeah.
Like, I really felt like I needed to just give all of myself. And I did. And I think I lost that best version of me because I was giving it to everybody else. So oxygen was being put out. I was not putting it back in. So I would look in the mirror. I would probably walk past the mirror, probably didn't pay attention to the mirror because usually when you don't look in the mirror, you don't want to see, you don't want to see or face it. And I realized one day the phone rings. My mom is hysterical, that's scary. You know what it is when your mom calls you hysterical. And she's like, your dad has Alzheimer's. We don't know what to do. There's 2 years of taxes he didn't pay. Like, I don't know where the money is. I don't know where anything is. Like, did not have a clue how to take care of herself. Like, she literally was like, it's all on you. You have to take care of us. He doesn't know what he's doing. And I was like, my hands were trembling. And I just remember being like, I don't know if I can handle all this. Like, I think I'm gonna have a nervous breakdown. I was like, Mom, I'll call you back. Let me figure this out. And I walked past the mirror. I don't know what made me look. I will never forget the moment of literally just looking. And I was like, who is that? I was like, I don't even recognize you. I was like, you don't look happy. You're not smiling. You're not dressed. Like, you're not being positive or like excited. Like, there's something like you look dead.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, no. And I just remember looking in the mirror and I literally was like, I'm going to bring you back. I'm going to bring you back to life. I'm going to bring Caroline back, like that best version of me, not this Caroline.
Yeah.
Like that one that I was proud of, and I was just like, whatever that takes. And in that, I started to kind of be like, okay, what makes me happy? Like, I talked to John and I was like, you know what? Me stressed all morning and like he was traveling all the time. I was like, I need a minute. Like, I need to be able to get a little workout in. Like, I need to be able to have like a little time with friends. Like, I need to be able to get dressed and look good. I was like, when did I stop looking good? I've always loved fashion. I've always been smiling and happy and like excited to do things and a really positive person. Love friends, love going out, love travel. Like, it was one of those things where I was like, so I got married and had kids and you just don't do any of that anymore?
Do you think he noticed that you had changed?
I think so, because he would consistently tell me, like, you should do something. Like, he'd always be like, you're really smart. Like, find something that you love. Do something you love. Like, I see that at school, you're not happy being there all the time. Like, you volunteering all the time, like, that's not your thing. Like, you love the boys. You can still be the best mom. You don't have to sacrifice it all. And I'd be like, I know, but like, you know, no one's there and I need to watch and I need to know what's going on. And, you know, just making every excuse to not face it. Because I knew deep down, I knew I was smart. Like, before I met John, I was independent, I was smart, I was working, I was making money. So why did I all of a sudden like not want to face me having to get to work?
We have to rewind, I think, to almost start from the beginning of your story for it all to really make sense. Because you've had almost everybody in your life tell you you were smart at one point or another.
I have.
And
didn't listen.
And you didn't really listen. I think now you finally believe it.
Fully believe it. Like, it's weird. I feel, I don't want to cry. See, this is where...
this is the crying podcast.
It is. So I'm like, shit, I did not expect that. Like, I feel so empowered. Like, I feel I am so capable. Like, I know where the money is. I know how to take care, like, God forbid something happened to John. I don't have that insecurity. I don't have that, like, you know, fear. I'm kind of like, yeah, I'll be fine. I'll figure it out. Like, I will be fine. And there is so much power, especially I think in a woman, to know that you can take care of yourself. Because I do think that we are told always to marry, that somebody else will take care of you, that somebody else is going to make you happy, that their success is your success, which I don't believe.
Yeah.
Again, his money is not your money, like, to a point, but like, it's not, you know what I mean? Like, at the end of the day, he walks away, he meets somebody. I've seen it. I see it with my friends. I've seen it all. I've seen it with my own parents. Like, you see the cheating, you see the unhappiness, you see my mom never leaving.
Okay, we have to talk about that, because I think a lot of what you talk about on which I love your podcast, but a lot of what you talk about are hard-earned lessons. And they're hard-earned because you grew up in a really tumultuous household.
Yes.
2 Cuban parents in Manhattan, and your dad had a pretty significant job. He made a lot of money, yeah?
He did, yes.
Talk to me about the dynamic in your house.
It was really hard. I think people thought we had everything because I think it looks good. You're pulling up in a limousine to school, you know, and, you know, my dad's the president of Univision and it's like a big deal, and the networks and this and the, you know, being in the magazines and all this stuff. What's insane is no one knows what goes on behind closed doors. And that's why I'm always like, you know, everyone trying to live up to the Joneses, yet nobody knows what's going on behind the Joneses door. And that's the truth. So we had money, we had, you know, experiences, we would travel. My dad we were spoiled. Like, he bought us anything we wanted. My mom, the anxiety I felt every day walking in, because unfortunately my dad was, you know, listen, he passed away. He's an incredible human being, an incredible provider. He was a shitty husband. He was, like, loved the ladies. And I'm not saying, you know, my mom was tough. She was, like, she's tough, but there was something in there that there was this lack of respect. And he could get away with it because she wasn't going anywhere. So she could make as big of a stink as she wanted. She could curse, she could tell him off, she could pretend she's throwing him out, but she always took him back. And it's because she did not know how to make her own money. She had the fear always. And she's gorgeous, she's smart. She made every house purchase, like, she purchased all of our things. She's the one who pushed him. He would have never taken the job if it wasn't for her. She's the one that took care of us, supported us, raised the children, yet she doesn't think she's smart. She doesn't think she's capable. She could, till this day, she'll be like, something happens, she'll be like, oh, I'm so stupid. And I'm like, Mom, why are you calling yourself stupid? Like, you realize you're gonna believe that one day if that's all you say to yourself.
Right.
And I think she did her whole life. Till this day, she's never been to the Niagara Falls. Like, something as ridiculous as that why wouldn't you have just gone?
Yeah.
Like, always depending on my dad, always chasing my dad, always looking for my dad, always screaming at my dad. So at home, We would lock ourselves in our room. I have many memories of being in my closet with my arms wrapped around my knees, and I would just rock myself just to calm down. So genuinely, the screaming would be so bad, and the insults, was awful to hear, to be honest with you. To hear a man insult a woman.
Your mother.
And then we would hear insults about us too. Don't think, like, oh, those damn girls, or like, oh, and you would hear it. And to say that words don't hurt or that you don't ever remember, like you remember. I had gastro problems all of high school. I went to every gastroenterologist. No one could figure out what was wrong with me.
Yeah.
And it was like pure anxiety, I think, every day. We never knew what we were going to walk into. We never knew when he wasn't going to come home or something was going to happen, or to the point where 72 was the last affair.
How do you know?
A grown, my husband unfortunately broke into the computer because my mom asked him to. This is why you don't marry the tech guy. My mom forced him to break into my dad's computer.
Yeah.
And we found a secret email.
At 72 years old.
72 years old. She was 34 with a young child. And he was the president of the company and she was the employee.
Okay, so this is hard.
Really
because
hard.
As a kid, you love both of your parents regardless of what's going on.
I sided with my mom. The one thing that my mom did, which I think is like one of her greatest faults, to be brutally honest with you, she would tell me I was her best friend. I have been her caretaker my entire life. Like, she wasn't the mom, I was more the mom.
Yeah.
And I was always, and I think that's why I'm happy. I feel like somebody had to be happy. So, because my sister's not a happy person. She's very depressed. She definitely has a hard time.
That's hard.
It's really hard. And I think I was the only person that would be like, come on, mom, like, it's okay. Like, let's do something, or let's go shopping, or let's, was always like just trying to get her to be happy.
Yeah.
Still my job.
What kind of dating or marriage advice did she give you growing up? Because I think those words that stick with us as daughters.
It's funny because in high school, she literally told me at 15 years old, like, maybe it was like 16, like something happened with the boyfriend.
Yeah.
And she's like, listen, your knight in shining armor isn't coming. So I was like, wait, what? She was like, yeah, doesn't exist. She was like, so get it together. And she's like, why are you crying over this idiot? She's like, he cheated on you. What, you cry over somebody? She's like, if you mess up and he's this great guy and you screw it up, cry all you want. You're an idiot. She's like, but if the idiot like cheated on you and he's a piece of shit, she's like, she's like, what are you crying over? How embarrassing. She's like, you need to be stronger, tougher. And she's like, let it go.
And is she saying it to you in Spanish?
In Spanish, and literally would be like, you've got one day. You've got one day to cry tomorrow. I don't want to hear about this. And I was like, okay, definitely made you tough. Definitely. But then later, as I graduate and I go to college, it was all marry rich, marry rich, marry well, marry well. And I don't know.
So what does that do to you when you hear that?
It felt like, so it was awful because that wasn't my personality. I was very independent. I think my sister did that. I was like, I don't ever want to live like you. Mm-hmm. I don't ever want to have this kind of marriage. I don't want to grow up in this kind of home. Like when I graduated, I was like, see ya. Like, I did not want any part of that. And it was every summer I would be gone the entire summer. I would come to my parents and be like, there's this program for 2 months and this is where I want you to send me. And I'd be gone every single summer because I was like, it was stressful at home.
Yeah.
And so when you hear like, marry well, and I'm like, what did that do for you? I'm like, so that I could end up like this, where I don't know how to take care of myself and I don't know what I'm doing. And then I'm at some man's beck and call. I was like, absolutely not. That's where the necklace comes from. I'm always like, absolutely not. I was like, no, I want to travel. I want to live well. I want to make my own money. Yeah. I was like, I want to do everything but marry well. Cut to, I get engaged to a millionaire.
Okay, so this
fell into the trap, just so you know.
Well, it's fell into the trap.
It was the pressure. It was the pressure. It was like, as independent as I was, you always want to please your parents. I don't know why. They talk about everything they sacrificed for you. They came to this country with nothing. They built all of this. Do you really want to start with nothing? Do you really want to go back to that? And I was like, well, no. And my mom was like, who's going to pay for all this? Look what you're used to. Look at all the trips you take. And I was like, okay, she has a good point. Like, I was kind of like, all right. And then all your friends, they put you in a good school. So you're surrounded by good people. Yeah. All of those people are now marrying well. And you get influenced by your friends, by your parents, the pressure you feel I always felt like I just wanted to please them. Like, I did.
But he wasn't a nice guy.
he wasn't a bad guy. He was more, you know, he had manic depression. So he definitely was like just a roller coaster ride. And for me, what I realized most is that I like stability. So I realized I was stepping into the same kind of dynamic because there was no stability at home. The rug could be pulled from under you anytime. That was the same here. He worked in the stock market. Whether he lost $1 million, made $1 million, it depended on his mood. It depended on how he was going to treat you. It depended like what was going to happen. And I remember anxiety again. Pure anxiety again. I never felt like comfortable. It was like he would come home and I'd be like, what happened? You know what I mean? And you'd be like waiting. Hated it. Like I hated it. And it was one of these things, I think I had to hate it so much that I realized this is so unhealthy. Like,
and how old are you at this point?
26 years old.
And how does that relationship end?
Are you ready for this? The fact that I even admitted this, I admitted it already on Instagram. Everybody already knows, but it was like, so I was already having hesitations. We had the engagement party going. We had the house in the Hamptons. He had gotten me a chauffeur for my birthday. I mean, this is the way we're living. Okay. Helicopter to the Hamptons. So my parents are like, you're set. Like, I don't care what he's like. This is who you're going to meet. Oh no. I was like, okay, I guess we're going to make this work. 2 nights before the engagement party, I get the phone rings in the morning and it's his ex-girlfriend. And she's like, hi, is Adam there? And I was like, you know it's 9:15, the market's opening, so you know he's not here. Call him at the office. And I hung up and I remember calling him and he's like, what, the S&P's, everything's open. And I was like, what the fuck is like this girl calling here? And he was like, I'll call you back, like I'll be done. And I was like, okay. I was so pissed. So we hung up. That night,
Did you feel triggered? Like, oh my God, I'm living my mom's life?
Literally. Like, I was kind of like, are you joking me? Like, you're going to disrespect me. This girl, who do you think? Like, I was definitely like, because I did have an ego. Like, I wasn't, the reason we weren't as compatible, I was never willing to kiss his ass. And that is something like my mom would kiss his ass, but like my mom would cut my dad's steak. So he's cheating, but she's cutting his steak. I would never do that. So I was always, it was very triggering for him because he wanted me to be like, you're so amazing. You're so, and I never was. So I was very much like, who is calling? Like, I am not dealing with this. So he had a business dinner and he was going to be home right after. Needless to say, hours go by, no one comes home, can't reach him, the phone's not answering. And the doorbell rings and it's our chauffeur driver. Love the guy. Hands me a handwritten letter. Calls off the wedding, off the engagement, in a letter. Handed to me by the doorman and the driver. And that was it. And it just said like I love you and your family, because all great, but he was like going to reconsider going back to the girl, the ex.
And so you go and you're kind of like rebuilding your life now.
After that, the good thing about me is never look back. Once you screw me over, like we're done. And so he did try to get back together. He realized that was a mistake, blah, blah, blah. That night, packed all my things. I was out within 24 hours. He never heard from me again. And he tried and he called and he was like, you are brutal. And I was like, never again. No, like not a chance. And at that point, I got a call about a Spanish soap opera filming in Miami. And my dad was like, you're going to go do this. And I was like, what? I was like, absolutely not. Because it was a little bit of, once you leave, it's really over, right?
Okay,
like no matter what anyone says, like there is a real pang that you're like, okay, I'm really cutting this off. And my dad's like, well, if you really want to work and you say you want to make money and you want to work, then let's see you work. And I was like, damn it. So flew to Miami and lived there for 1 year, did 100 episodes on a Spanish soap opera. It was called Enamorada. And it was great and it was a hit. And then I got a call from ICM here and that's how I moved to LA.
That's how you moved to LA?
Yes.
Okay, so how old are you when you moved to LA?
27, 28. 28, 20, turning 29.
LA like for you?
I thought it was awful. I got here, I'm a total New Yorker, born and raised. We walk fast, we talk fast, zero bullshit. And I don't like the fake. I don't like the, maybe we'll see what's going on later, I'll meet you. It's like, and then people canceling or you call and be like, I hate wishy-washy. That is not my thing. Like, be straight up. You can cancel anytime, just let me know. So I found that really hard to kind of integrate yourself. I think it took me a full year here to really make some friends, to really feel comfortable. That's where I met Noah Tishby. That's where I met my whole crew of friends was at that time. And so once I got into that little group, I started to feel my groove. I started to like LA. I got my own apartment. I started auditioning. I started working. I had my agents and I started to feel independent.
And I love how you talk about your now husband, John.
The best.
So he has a twin brother.
Yep, identical.
I need to show you this
no.
On my card because I think it's so funny.
Wait, let me see.
Okay, so our producer, Gina,
what did you do?
she writes, so this is the question, right? This is your now husband, John. Let me set the scene. John was there with his brother, Jim, identical twin. And then she writes a note, oh my God, Danielle, smoking picture of them here.
Wait, is it the one of them with their shirts off?
I don't know.
Oh my God,
It's Jim and John.
It is Jim and John. Wait, that is the exact story.
It's so good.
It's so good. And I think this is the best advice I'm going to give women.
Okay.
I'm going to give you the best advice. This is what I did, and this is how I met John. Okay? Brutal truth.
Hold on,
okay,
but I have to set the scene because
okay, go ahead.
So Jim has a girlfriend at the time.
Yep.
Does John have a girlfriend?
He was meeting somebody he was dating there.
And are you with anybody?
I'm with the guy I'm dating.
And you don't care?
Could care less. I literally remember the first thought in my head was, how am I with this idiot when he's here? Like I literally in my head was like, that is my exact type. Like if I was going to write it on a piece of paper, like the looks, the eyes, like for whatever reason, I was like, that is exactly what I would pick as like my type. And I was like, and I'm fucking with this idiot. Like that's what I was thinking.
Because the way you describe meeting him is like it was love at first sight.
Love at first sight. At least I think John would say it too. Like it was. I think we saw each other. It was like, I don't know what happened. It was like, oh my God.
The room stopped.
It was just weird. It was like,
oh my God.
And then we kept trying to talk the whole night. And I talked to Jim and his girlfriend the whole night because he was kind of meeting somebody. And obviously I'm with someone. So we're all doing shots, like we're all drinking, we're having fun. And apparently in my drunken stupor that night, we're having fun. I said to my now sister-in-law, when the girl came in that he was meeting and I'm with my guy I'm dating, I was like, oh yeah, we got to get rid of her. So apparently I was definitely interested. And I was like, I feel like this might work out. Like there's something there.
Is that the advice you were going to give me?
No.
Okay, what's the advice?
Okay, the advice is when I met him, like we all, we were in the dating scene. We've all been there, LA, you're going out, everyone's setting you up and all that stuff. And I kept talking about, I've always been somebody who did want to get married and have kids. Okay. I definitely always wanted a family. I didn't want the dynamics I had. I was excited to create my own new dynamics. I knew it was possible. I was like, whatever, but I wasn't going to settle. So after 2 or 3 years of dating and all this stuff, and I was like, 32 at this point, or like 31. And I was like, okay, your parents constantly like, what are you doing? Like, what's going on?
Yeah.
And
I'm 33. I get the calls all the time.
Like this is, everybody wants to know. And so one day I was like, you know what? If I really want to get married and I really want to have kids and I really want this guy who's trustworthy, who's kind, who comes home, I was like, then I have to like change what I'm doing. I was like, because I keep meeting the same kind of guy. Like, do I want the agent and the producer? No. Like I would be out to dinner and it's like, you see the top guy, but he's calling 4 other girls over here. And I was like, is this what I really want? And I was like, no. If I really want a nice guy, where do nice guys hang out? I was like, literally like, what do I need to do? So I was like, you know what? I'm going to train for a half marathon because I loved being healthy. I always worked out.
Yeah.
And I was like, I wanted to raise money for charity. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to join this group and I'm going to just train for this half marathon. I'm going to raise money. And I was like, I bet you I'm going to meet different people.
Love that.
And I'm going to meet people who like maybe aren't watching football on a Sunday because like I don't watch football on a Sunday. So I was like, I don't want to be with a guy that's drinking beer and watching football all day because I don't want to do that. So I was like, I'm going to go somewhere where it's a Sunday morning. Who's going to run on a Sunday morning?
Smart.
So I really was like, all my friends were like, you're an idiot. What are you doing? They were going to Aggo Saturday night. And I'd be like, I have to go to bed. I'm going to run. And they were like, you're crazy. And I was like, just let me try. Go the first day, full anxiety, like the first day of school. Get there. I'm like, oh my God, what am I doing? I'm crazy. So I was like, this is ridiculous. But on that first run, I meet this girl, Jody.
Okay.
She becomes my running partner. She was really sweet. She went to UCLA Business School and she was working at Fox or something like that. And we became friends. We started training. We did the marathon, raised the money. It was amazing. Her birthday party is where I met John.
Oh,
and if I wouldn't have run and I wouldn't have met her, never would have met John. So changing what I did around the people, making those choices of knowing what you want and like what kind of lifestyle do you want? And you need to meet somebody who also has that kind of lifestyle. And doing that, it's like I met and I just changed the path of my life completely.
So your whole trajectory switches.
Completely.
You guys get married.
We moved in after 3 months.
Oh my God.
2 months later, engaged. We've been married 18 years, together 20. And we have 2 boys, 12 and 14.
And so this is kind of where your story catches up from where we started, because you told me you're sitting on the couch and you're not feeling like yourself.
So I married John, and he's the smartest, greatest, hardest working person I know. He just graduated business school. So not making money yet, like not where my parents were like, I mean, he's cute, he's great, like who's taking care of you? And I was like, I know, but I was like, there's something of like, I felt safe with him. There was something of like, I know he'll do whatever it takes to make sure we're okay. Like at some point I was like, we were okay. I had my own place. Like we were doing auditions, we were getting work, and it was like fine. But then you get married, and I would be lying to everyone if I didn't say it wasn't hard. And your lifestyle, what you're used to, the shopping, the cars, the house, you know what I mean? When that goes away and you have kids and there is no nanny and there is no night nurse and all of your friends have it all, I would be lying if I said it wasn't hard. And having to recheck yourself every day of, why did you make this decision? You are a team, like you've got to make it work. But there were a few years definitely that were hard. They were definitely hard because he was traveling, trying to live up to what I expected. He was working 24/7. He was literally traveling from Monday to Thursday, Tuesday to Friday. I'd be alone with both kids, no nanny. I mean, so stressful to the point where you just let go of everything. And we just weren't happy. Like not like happy, but not this happy. Not what we feel now. And there was something of, we were both just doing these roles that we're expected to do. I had to be the stay-at-home mom at everything. And he was working his ass off, never seeing the kids, never seeing us, just to make money. And it did not work for us. It just didn't work for us. Like we weren't happy. Like we weren't playing the roles we really were meant to play. We weren't spending the time we were meant to spend. The kids were not seeing this loving, happy relationship. It was mom stressed all the time, exhausted all the time. I'm there, but am I really happy being there? Am I really smiling all the time? Like, do I look good when I'm there? Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
And to switch it to now, just to make that comparison, we get to spend so much time together. We're always with the boys. We get to go to pickup. We get to go to all the events. We can travel with them. They see us laughing. They see us working together.
But it's all because you got dressed.
All the one action, just getting dressed every single day.
So you start making these videos in COVID. Just get dressed.
So it started right before COVID. I was like, John kept encouraging me.
Yeah.
My best friend, Erin, who's an orthodontist, really smart, incredible, was the other person who would constantly be pushing me. So another
good friend.
A really good friend. She'd always be like, Caroline, what are you doing? She'd be like, let's go. What's your business? What are you doing? And I'd be like, stop stressing me out. I'll figure it out that was my answer. When I'm ready, I'll figure it out. Or when the kids are a little bit older, like I'm just too tired, every excuse. And then I was like, you know what? Okay, I'm just gonna try. People love the fashion. People always ask me what I'm wearing, and I love shopping and that. So I was like, I'll take a photo. Everybody was posting. It was like influencers kind of starting. I was kind of like, I don't know what this is, but okay, I'll try it. Okay, one photo. What? That's how it started. Just one little photo in the mirror. And I was like, okay, we'll see what happens. And I'll just tag the brand. I just wanted some free clothes. I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna tag, and you know what? Maybe somebody will gift you something. Yeah. It wasn't like, did not think of any of this. Like this was not even a thought. It was, how do I make a little extra income so like I can shop and do whatever I want? Like that's the truth. Like it's the truth. And so from there, COVID hits. And so when COVID hits, everything shuts down. Everyone's freaking out. Everyone's like negative and scared, and everyone apparently lets themselves go. Like everybody's like, why are we getting dressed? Who cares? And I was like, why are you dying? Like, what are you talking about? And so those mornings when we were in complete lockdown, I don't know what got me to get on the phone and turn on the camera. And I just started talking like a personal journal. It was like a video journal.
But I think that to understand like the braveness of what you did, you have to explain like where you live. No, because I think that like the comments from some of the other moms and women in your community are really like could be borderline devastating for people. You did not care.
You have no idea. We had moms making fun.
Yes.
Like at school, like when I started, there was a group of moms who like, some of them like, celebrity things, people that you're like, really? And so when I started it, the snippets, the joking, the making fun, the husbands would make fun in comments and they'd be like, oh, what are you doing? Like, that's so stupid. I'd be like, well, I'm making money. What's your wife doing? That was always my comment. Like, really? Okay. And it got to a point where I was like, I hate bullying.
Yeah.
I am completely against it. I am all for supporting women always. And the fact that they weren't being supported and were being mean moms, I was like, we're going to put an end to this. Because I was like, I cannot stand it. Like, that is one thing I just don't accept. Like, there's no need for it. So I would purposefully, they would all be in a group at pickup. You'll love this. Pickup group, the moms, you can imagine. Whispering, gossiping. I'd walk right past them. Wasn't hiding in the back. I'd walk right past them and I would stand in the front of the school where no one's supposed to stand because you're not supposed to be that close to the gate. Stand in front of the school. They would all be just staring at me because no one else is standing there.
Yeah.
And I would get my phone and I'd be like, just to piss them off.
You would start creating content.
Oh yeah, I was like,
oh my goodness.
I was like, you guys want to watch? You want something to talk about? I'm going to give you something to talk about.
That is bold.
And I was like, and when I realized none of them affected me, none of them cared about me, none of them, I'm like, why would I care about the opinion of people that I don't really know, that don't benefit my life in any way, who don't help me in any way? And I'm like, what are you doing? I'm not impressed by what you're doing. So like, why do I care what your opinion is? Like, you're not in my home. You're not paying my bills. You're not with my husband. Like, you're not. So I realized, I was like, I have more power. I have power and I get to choose happy.
That takes so much gumption.
You know what? And there's something about being 50. There's something about this age that women fear. And I think this is the greatest. I used to think 50 was the Golden Girls. It is starting life over with experience. And it is the greatest gift you will ever have.
Is that why you don't take advice from people that are under 50?
Nope. I really don't. I'm like, what do you know? Like, I've seen divorces, deaths, alcoholism. My friend's child just passed away. My other friend's child has cancer. Like, we've seen it all. We've seen the cheating. We've seen this. We've seen kids. I feel like I've seen it all. Nothing shocks me anymore. Like, I've experienced it all with every single friend, with my own family. Until you're in your 50s and you kind of really, I think 50, you realize it's this switch in your brain that you only have 50 years left. And what are you going to do with them if you're lucky? And I saw my mom falling apart. I saw my dad get sick. And I thought, I can only have 20 or 30 years left. Like, what am I going to do with them? Like, am I really just going to sit here and let some moms bully me and like me sit home and not do anything and just be bored and watch TV shows and just wait for pickup and drop off? Like, there's got to be more to life than this.
Yeah.
And I remember being like, you are smart. Like, you are capable. Like, what are you doing? Like, do something. Like, and I was like, I just don't want to end up like them. I don't want to end up like them. I was like, I'll do whatever it takes. And that is literally that mindset of, I don't want to end up like that.
So if you Google Caroline Baudino, here's what comes up.
Oh, Lord.
Shop with Caroline, how this 52-year-old influencer became a multi-channel success. How she's redefining success at any age. How Caroline Baudino became a lifestyle influencer in her 50s. Here's how Caroline Baudino found purpose and a career in positive aging. I'm so curious if aging was always a focal point for you.
I think it was about taking away what people think about aging. I think for me, it is about aging in a sense where now I feel like we talk to every age, and that's what's amazing. I have so many moms. I've met women's 12-year-old daughters that cried when they met you, and they're like, I watch every day. Yes. It's like you realize even a 12-year-old has a hard time looking in the mirror and liking what they see. And how do you provide those happy tools for them to feel that confidence every day so that they can face school, they can face the bullies? You know what I mean? I realize it's every age, you know what I mean? And that's what's so interesting now. But at the time, I was 50. And to have a 50-year-old trying to be an influencer was kind of crazy at the time. And getting out there and trying to put outfits together and trying to show women that you're not dead. Like, I just remember, and so I think at that point it was a little bit about aging because I wanted to remind women, you're just getting started. Your age does not matter. Like, there is no time limit to finding you're happy. There's no age limit to finding you're happy.
And were you really reminding yourself?
Yes. I mean, it started as, I think it really was my personal video journal, and you forget that there's so many people watching and you just don't think about it.
You're really holding that mirror up. In every way.
And what I realized, the reason I get on every day and I'm so committed to it, that's my mirror every day. Like, I tell you to look in the mirror every day and just remind yourself that phone is my mirror every single day that I have to answer to.
My, the one piece of advice from my mom that rings in my ears, like since I was a little girl, she would always say, like whatever decisions you make, you're the one that has to look in the mirror in the morning and be proud of the person staring back.
Exactly.
So like with bullying, with whatever it was, and that has carried me through my whole life.
Me too.
And I never really thought about it until I started researching for this interview, because well, you talk about the mirror so much, and it's like, it's deeper than just looking.
It's not about you looking pretty. And again, that's why the clothes, it's never about the designer, why I love Amazon, affordable, all that, because it's not about the label. It is not about how much it costs. It's about the effort that you are willing to make every day to remind yourself that you're important too, and that you're the special occasion. Like, I think women forget, we get all dressed up. You will go get a spray tan. I'll get my eyebrows done. I get makeup done. You know what I mean? You get a new outfit. You will work out. You will do all of those things for a date, to meet a complete stranger who may not even be nice to you, who you don't even like, for a job interview that, you know, you don't even know if you're going to get. But you're not willing to do that for you, for your incredible life that you are living, the privilege that you get to get up every single day. You're the special occasion. Your life is. So get up and get dressed for it.
I need your advice.
Tell me.
I feel like goblin mode or Hollywood mode. I have no in between.
Okay.
Because I feel like for my job, I get dressed, and I'm actually like a very low-key girl.
So you're so beautiful.
No, I have a lot of hair and makeup. When I walk out of my house in the morning, I sometimes, like, I'd be embarrassed to see somebody. And I've heard you talk about that.
When I tell you, do you know I got a DM recently, and I've never laughed so hard? She was like, I went to the supermarket. She's like, I was being lazy. I didn't get dressed. She's like, I bumped into my ex-boyfriend. And she goes, all I could hear in my ear was, Caroline screaming, like, why didn't you get dressed? And I was like, if you are hiding in any way, you don't feel good in your skin. Because if you're hiding from seeing somebody, if you think you look so good and you're so confident and you're so like not insecure, then why aren't you walking right up to them and being like, hey, how's it going? What's going on? If you're hiding, there's an insecurity there. And insecurity doesn't make you feel strong and confident.
No.
So what do you walk the rest of the day? You've got to get up and get dressed. And I'm not saying like t-shirt, jeans, and a pair of hoops. So you just remember, it's like that action. That it's like you're just making yourself a priority. It triggers your brain. It just does. When you're like up and dressed and moving, you're kind of like, okay, I got this. All right, let's go. But if you're in your pajamas, or if you're just like not looking good and you throw it together, you're frazzled, you're running around, you're late, you walk past the mirror, you're gonna be like, oh my God, I look like shit. Fuck. Okay. Oh God, I hope I don't see anybody. Oh, I need to lose 10 pounds. Why didn't I work out? And then you walk out that door feeling like that. If you look good, you just put yourself a little bit, you might walk past the mirror and be like, oh, you look cute. Okay, yeah, all right, let's get it. Let's go, got this. Very different mindset walking out of your door, whether it's your bedroom door to deal with your kids and your family, or walking out to go to work, or walking out to the world. What attitude or perspective do you want?
I really do show up differently when I'm dressed.
I do too.
So your life has completely shifted. I feel like at 52, you are like the vision board version of Caroline that you dreamed about when you were a little girl.
I really am. Like, I feel like I'm proud. I feel like my younger self would be really proud of me right now.
I can't believe it happened at 52 or 50. That's amazing.
You know what's funny? Like, again, I'm tearing up because I really feel like I'm ready now. I don't know if I was ready back then. I don't know if I realized the other day I said, and I really thought it was something, I actually took a second and I was like, I always thought the waiting meant it wasn't meant to be. I always thought the waiting meant it wouldn't work out for me, or it was like, you're never gonna get it. And I realized the waiting was preparing me to be able to handle all the challenges that come with it and to be able to enjoy it and appreciate it. So I think the waiting was the greatest gift because I actually know who I am. I know what I like. I know my boundaries. I don't take anything less. I feel so confident. I feel good. And if things don't work out, I'm perfectly fine. I'm happy. Like if it all ends, like I'm happy. I'm good.
Gloria Steinem in one of her books talks about, like the beginning of her book, talks about how her mother wanted to be a journalist. And there's this guilt that she always felt sort of living out her mother's dream. And when you were telling me about your mom, that's the first thing I thought of.
You're gonna make me cry. She's always wanted to have a store. She's always wanted to be in fashion. It's like her grace. She loves getting dressed, loves the jewelry. I got it from her, there's no doubt. She wears her makeup every single day. If she does not have her red lipstick on, something's wrong. And that is the truth. Like her red lipstick, if you ask her, she's like, well, I'm not dead. And so it's the funniest thing, but when she doesn't have it on, you know she's in a bad mood. You know something happened, even as a child. If that lipstick wasn't on, you were like, oh shit, like what happened? So there is something there. and she's always loved it. And she was never able to have her own store, to make her own money, to have her own power in her own home. And I think she watches me now, and I think she's really proud for the first time that I really can take care of, like, I think she's proud of the woman I am and what I've been able to accomplish on my own without a man. I mean, I do, because I can't do it without John. That is the truth. But I really started on my own, and I pushed, and I work hard every single day. Like, no days off. I love it. I'm passionate about it. I don't dread it. I'm excited every single morning to get out of bed.
I think you have to share how many videos you make to really explain to people how hard you're working.
So we post, so anyone who understands social media, we post. So we go across all platforms. So people understand it's like TikTok, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram. We post 4 to 5 videos a day, 7 days a week. So that much content has to be filmed. Like today we shot 10 videos this morning just for the weekend. So we are filming.
And you've been doing this for 8 years.
8 years straight, no days off. And I will sit up till 3 a.m. I will respond to all the DMs. I will respond to every comment, because if you are willing to support me, if you are willing to take the time out of your life to write to me, I am so grateful to be 52 years old and having this kind of support and love. Like, you're supporting my family. You're giving me like a life that I never thought possible. And I can't take 2 minutes to write you back. No, like I will be up till 4 a.m. writing everyone back, even voice messages, like videos, like we're up. So and I think that's why we have built an incredible community of women, like from 80, 90 to 12, 6-year-olds that I get videos from.
Incredible.
Never seen anything like it.
And those intergenerational relationships are so special.
The best. You learn the most. I have friends who are in their 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s. I have 70-year-old friend. Like, it is the greatest gift you can give yourself.
Yeah.
That's the advice you want. Surround yourself with women, like have experience, have some knowledge, have been through stuff. And then for me, I get to relive stuff.
Yeah.
Like my assistant, I adore. She's like one of my best friends. Like I love her. And it's like the 28-year-olds, you know how fun it is to be able to give advice, to be able to set her up for life. Like we are like, you need to invest in this. You need to do this. No one did that for me. I was being told to get married. What I would have done for someone to tell me, put your money here, do this. And so we are setting them up for success. Nothing makes me happier than empowering women. Nothing.
Well, speaking of 20 and 30-year-olds, you say that we're rushing to the end. What does that mean?
Marriage is really hard, okay? Kids are really hard, okay? That's why the 52-year-old's gonna tell you, okay? 18 years of marriage, a 12 and a 14-year-old.
Yeah.
Life is really hard, and it gets even harder. It does. So you get older, less problems, but they're bigger.
Yeah.
You start dealing with divorce, you start dealing with your kids' health issues, like financials. You're so responsible for so much. Nobody warns you. Yeah. Nobody tells you the truth. Maintaining a marriage is so much work. It is so much work. Add children to it, add your elderly parents to it. That's called the sandwich years. Well, you're a sandwich between everyone. And women, why do you think there's so much depression? Why do you think there's the highest suicide rate in women is in the 40s and 50s now? Surgeon General said that loneliness is now considered the same effect on you as smoking 2 packs of cigarettes a day. That's how unhealthy it is.
Yeah.
So we have an issue here, right? And so we have to start empowering women, lifting them up, showing them that any age, any time, it's not starting over. It's starting from experience. I tell like my young girls, right? Stop rushing to the end. Be an interesting person. Travel. It is the greatest money you will ever spend. Understand what other cultures are like, what other people are like experience life. Understand who you are. Get to know yourself. Please save money. Please learn how to make money and work. Like have your own bank account. Have your own money when you're getting married. So you don't start with that dynamic of power. Money controls you. Every single person, I don't care who you are, it controls you. When I was with the guy and I thought I was so independent, trust me, it controls you. When you can't buy the bag or you can't buy the thing you wanted, you're like, okay, fine, I'm not mad. That's not who you really are. That's not authentic, and that eats away at you. So I'm always telling them, like, why are you rushing to the end? It's hard to be married. It is hard to have kids. It's huge problems, huge responsibility. Enjoy your life. Be fun. Like, go out with your girlfriends, date, figure out who you are and what really makes you happy. Then you get married and have kids. Stop rushing to the end.
I think it's interesting that you didn't dream of like settling down and having kids. It just kind of happened to you.
It was like, I want to be independent. And I really think like sometimes, and now I get it all. because now I get to be independent and I get to travel and I get to do all that and I get the happy ending.
I love that. You describe your marriage as happy and your partnership as strong. I'm going to bore you for a second, but I think this research is a little bit interesting. So research shows that healthy support from partners is key for successful workers, especially women. Studies I've read show that high-achieving women in the workforce cite supportive husbands and partners in sustaining long-term success in their career. I don't know if men have that same...
No.
How can you identify that trait in a man early on in your life?
For me, John was never all about him. I felt like we were a partnership from the beginning. Like I always felt respected. I always felt like he thought I was smart and capable. Like I have dated men who thought they were the power, that I was lucky to be with them. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I'm always like, they should be lucky to be with you. And I would say they should fit into your, like they're being interviewed by you. They're not interviewing you. You're interviewing them. Are they good for you? Are they kind to you? Are they respectful? The way they treat their mother and the way they treat their friends says everything. John was the most, I've never seen a man be that respectful to his parents. Oh, wow. I'm not joking. Like I even scream at my mom. I've never seen him raise his voice at his parents in 18 years. I've never seen it. Never seen him curse anything at his parents. Like a gentleman. My friends, the night all of my friends call John, john.com, John help me. He was always this just very respectful, kind. I always felt respected. Mm-hmm. And I knew that he wanted what was best for me. Other relationships, you're catering to them. You're trying to make sure you fit. You're scared that they might drop you or leave you. Like to me, I have never felt that insecurity with John, ever. I don't see him looking around. He calls when he says he's gonna call, even at the beginning. Like we met that night, like next morning had a phone call. And we met that next night. We were together ever since. We did not spend one single day apart. This whole interview, I'm dying to have John come in. Like, he is
I need the other side of this. Like, this is so interesting.
But he'll tell you, because it's just so interesting how and he had never been in a long relationship. So and he was like the most stand-up guy. Opens the door for you, calls when he says he's going to call. Those things are important. The way they treat you is important, and they usually show it quite early. And women see the red flags, and they don't do anything. They're like, oh, he must be busy. That's why he didn't call. No, he didn't call because he doesn't want to call you. Like, I'm sorry. Or like he didn't, you know what I mean? Or he didn't get me. It's like, yes, he didn't want to, because trust me, the guy that wants to
is going to call.
100%.
I like that you call marriage a Ponzi scheme.
That's John's favorite story, because he's like, what are you telling people?
What do you mean by that?
Okay, this is what I mean. I honestly think
I know it's so hot in here. I'm sorry.
No, I don't care. It's my No, I love it. I literally was laughing because one day, I don't know what I was doing, and I think we were watching the Epstein show, right? Okay. The documentary and whatever. And I was like, I honestly think marriage is a Ponzi scheme. And John's like, what? And I was like, think about it. These men come, they promise you the world, they dangle the carrot. They're like, I'll buy you this, I'll buy you that. Like, just give me kids, you'll be home, I'll take care of you, everything is fine. And you kind of fall for it. You start investing. You're like, okay, maybe. So you invest with the first kid. Then you make another investment with the second kid. All of a sudden, you're like, wait, where's all the money? Like, where's all the gifts? And you're like, wait, why am I at home? Where's the nanny? And all of a sudden, you're like, wait, did I just get scammed? Because I'm doing it all. I'm like cleaning, cooking, taking care of the kids, supporting him, running around. I'm actually not that happy. And I was like, what happened? And I was like, I think we're all getting scammed. I was like, funny. Because the truth is, no one can promise you that, right? Yeah. Life takes huge turns. John was unfortunately at a great tech company, great job, and his entire team was let go. So anything, even the richest guy can lose it all. So what happens then? So I'm kind of like, you still need to know what your investments are, not in him, in yourself.
One of my girlfriends always would date men for money.
I have many of those.
And it's like to each their own.
To each their own.
Right? That's like,
if you can live with that, absolutely. Like if you're happy and you're waking up happy with him, great.
Totally.
Yeah.
But she wasn't.
No.
And one of our other girlfriends at breakfast, it was like very Sex in the City, looked at her and said, I just want you to know, if you marry for money, you pay for it the rest of your life.
Good for her. Good friend.
Good friend.
Good friend. Because when I was going to marry the guy, my best friend said to me, I just want to be honest with you. And I was like, oh God, what? She's like, the fire that burns inside of you that like makes, it's what I love about you. It's like you're, you know, that it's like you're so fun and lively and like, that's what I love about you. She's like, I'm just letting you know it's dead. And she's like, so if you marry him, she's like, I just don't know if we're going to be good friends. She's like, you're just not the same person anymore. She's like, you're dead inside. I was like, and I was.
That's a really good
only
friend.
person that told me. The one and only person that told me.
Are you
Everyone
still
else
friends
was
with
like,
her?
yeah, seeing her on Sunday for coffee.
That's so special.
Best friend since high school, junior year in high school. Till this day. She sang at my wedding with John.
I love friends who can do that. The truth tellers.
The truth tellers.
Right?
And
to bring it
that's
full
who
circle.
you have to have women who are willing to tell you the truth.
So you say everybody needs to find their happy tools. What are happy tools?
Okay.
Where can I find them?
Okay, we're getting you your happy tools. And how I started them was during COVID. I was feeling a lot of anxiety. I think menopause causes a lot of anxiety, to be honest with you. And then obviously everything going on in the world was like, I just felt a lot of anxiety.
My mom talked about that.
Did she?
Menopause and anxiety.
It is.
I think she was never anxious until menopause.
I've never been anxious either. Except for my parents. Like when my parents would fight, I would be anxious. But through the years with John, like I wasn't. And then all of a sudden it was like panic attacks. Like I once said, 2 or 3 times I've said, I think I need to go to the hospital.
That's scary.
The scariest thing, plus the horrible like you just don't know what's happening to you. Like, and you gain 30 pounds. Like I gained 30 pounds in a year.
Oh my God.
Like stomach, you just do not recognize yourself. Like you wonder why women are so freaked out, why they're so depressed. Why? Because first of all, menopause is never talked about.
Yeah.
There's no real study and research on it. Women in their 50s have been forgotten about. And thank God now we have a lot of people speaking about it. And when I started talking about it, it was probably my highest reach in things was when I would talk about menopause, like the most unsexy topic. Every single person would be like, okay, no one talks about this. Like, what do you mean? And the anxiety is so real.
Yeah.
And then imagine that mixed in with your real life.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, it's just like, so COVID was happening. I was feeling I wasn't sleeping, horrible hot sweats, no doctors open. So I went through the worst of menopause, no doctors available. So I just had to live through it. So I was like, okay, I need to figure this out. I can't feel like this. I have 2 little kids. We're having homeschooling. Like, this is crazy.
Yeah.
So I started being like, okay, what makes me feel good? Like, what are the things that like trigger that anxiety to go away? Like what makes me kind of brings me back. So I would go outside, like, feet in the grass. People say grounding, like it's so real. Like when you just kind of reset yourself. I would sit outside because COVID, we'd be home. So I would sit out in the sun and I would just put my face in the sun and I'd be like, okay, that makes me feel better. And I just remember being like this. And then I remember being like, okay, some gratefulness, like, okay, we're going to be okay. We're okay. Thank God we have a home. We have our food. Cause this is like the lockdown. I was like, we're good. We're good. And I just remember like, that would just make me feel better. A little bit of sunlight, little sun therapy, little gratitude.
Yeah.
That's a happy tool for me. I go outside when I'm not feeling great. I will put my face in the sun. I calm myself down and I'm just like, you got this. Everything's fine. You're good. Like,
it's like a mini pep talk.
Mini like meditation. You know what I mean? Like, we're good. Stop it. So that to me is a happy tool. That for me was a happy tool.
Yeah.
Me, movement. I like any kind of movement, working out, going for walks. Cause again, during COVID, it's like we would go for walks. We would have great conversations and like, I'd be like, oh, that I'd feel better.
Yeah.
So movement in any way, workouts, hike, anything. For me, getting dressed, that is my greatest happy tool. It would be like, as soon as I would get dressed, it would change the way I felt.
Yeah.
So happy tools for me, and me, positive self-talk. That's why I say, look in the mirror and remind yourself every day you're strong, capable, smart, beautiful, and you can do hard things. I say it every single day in the mirror. So that talk would also help. So those are my 5 happy tools. People have all different things. It's figuring out what makes you feel better when you're not feeling good. So it's like, how do you find your happy in the hard?
Your presence on social media led to your podcast Coming in Hot with Caroline. You can talk.
Yes, I can.
Like, I'm sorry, everyone. No, I'm so impressed because I can't do a solo episode.
Yes, you can. You're amazing. Yes, you can.
I get so nervous. I like to ask the questions and have other people talk. But you can just go, and you're such a great storyteller.
Thank you.
You're known for being honest and authentic. Okay. But you're doing an episode by yourself, talking to an expert or a Q&A with your husband, John, in most of them. What does being an influencer mean to you?
What's funny is it's like, I never look at it like I hate calling people followers because I don't think anyone's following you. We're all grown women. Like, I think you make a choice to be part of someone's community. Like, it's like, this is my community. I feel like it's my crew of women that we all support each other. I don't think anyone's following. I'm not following people. You know what I mean? To me, it's like influence to me
I don't use that word in my bio. I hate that word.
I hate it. Like, I really don't think it's appropriate, to be honest with you. I think it makes you think like you're so big and you're my followers.
It's icky.
No, we are equal. I'm like, if I can, you can. And that to me is the greatest thing. It's like, if I can do this, I'm 52 at home with one photo. Trust me, you can. I did not know even how to open my computer. I did not know how to do any social media. Ask John. I'd be like, John, I don't know how to do this. Didn't know anything. And I'm an expert now. Like, ask me, like, I'm an expert. So for me, yes. So it's like, we can do those things.
That ex-boyfriend or fiance
Recently called.
And what did he say?
He actually said, you will laugh. He's like, you were always really smart.
How did that feel?
I go, yeah, I know. And I just was like, damn you. Like, but it was like, he literally called, I am so impressed. He's like, I am so proud of you. He's like, wow. You're killing. He saw the Forbes article. He saw this. He was like, what? Like, I was supposed to be his purse.
Yeah.
And I'm so not somebody's purse. You know what I mean? I was
You're
like,
the whole bag.
I'm the bag. You know what I mean? So I was like, it was really nice for somebody he actually is very successful, very smart. He is a good, no hard feelings, honestly. And it was nice to hear from someone who I think in my own way maybe thought he didn't think I was or something, just because you're put in this weird dynamic of power.
Yeah.
And to just hear him be like, you did it. And I was like, yeah, I did. It was like amazing to like literally look at him. It was on FaceTime. And I was like, oh yeah, you knew I was going to do something. Like, I wasn't just going to sit around.
So like, you're telling me all these stories for the past hour or so, and your husband, John, is here in the room. And I know your mom watches your videos too.
Yeah.
How do the people closest to you in your life feel about you being so honest? Because you really are, like, you're sharing, and sometimes it's not your story.
100%. We did not speak for 3 months at the beginning, me and my mom.
Oh, wow.
And my aunt. Yeah, there was a time, I think, when my dad was sick, and everybody was very stressed, obviously, and going through a lot. And they watched something that we were home for Thanksgiving. It was a complete shit show. It was a really bad experience, to be honest with you. My dad was not well. They were fighting all the time. It was really stressful. And I noticed that the apartment wasn't being kept up. So I was getting really worried about what's going on here and can they take care of themselves? And I talked about it on social media the next morning, of how horrible Thanksgiving was, because it was like this and that, and my mom. And I walked out of my bedroom in the morning, and my aunt and my mom were sitting there with the phone. They basically insulted me to the core, to the core, and told me to pack up and leave. And my kids actually said to me, Sawyer, my oldest, goes, Mom, I'm so sorry your mom doesn't love you. Because we were kicked out of our own house.
Whoa.
And I was like, it's okay. I'm like, she loves me. She just doesn't know how to show it. It's okay. I was like, we're going to be fine. And it was brutal. And I stood my ground, because I literally said, what are you so embarrassed about? And she's like, how dare? And I was like, I'm not embarrassed about our life. This is the truth. I haven't lied about anything. So if you want to live a lie, that's your problem. But I was like, I'm not going to live a lie. I am going to tell it, because you don't help anybody by lying. The only way you help people is by being honest and learn from it. So I was like, I'm not going to stop. We didn't speak for 3 months, and then she gave in. Now, doesn't care at all. Doesn't care at all.
Love that.
And John, I think, he always allowed me to be open. It's funny, John never cared. John was always like, do you? If that's what you want to tell, that's your story to tell.
That's a huge amount of support.
John has been the most supportive, honestly. Like, he's like, I want to see you win. And when his job was gone and he could come over to me and help, he literally was like, I want to help you win. And that's when things took off. It was a year ago. 1 year ago, I was 38,000. Now I'm here and I'm on the Today Show, like, in 1 year.
I love that you said you were sitting in your pajamas feeling terrible watching the Today Show, and then here you are on the Today Show as a guest.
It was like the most pivotal, ask John, because I said it was surreal. I would sit, drop off, come home, sit on the couch, you watch the Today Show, you're kind of like, oh, that must be nice to get dressed up and go to the set. It was kind of like, there's nothing left. That used to be my dream, because I used to be in TV, and I was kind of like, my time's over. Like, my chance is over, it's not happening. To last week in New York City, sitting on the couch with Hoda and Jenna, amazing. You're like, anything is possible. If this isn't proof that you can do anything at any time in your life, then you're sleeping. Like, wake up.
One of the things that I think is so inspirational about your story too is that you talk about consistency a lot.
Yes.
Like there's no magic pill.
There's
you
no
were doing
secret.
this for 7 years. What would you say the amount of success was with like?
I have to be honest, like I said, consistent. When people ask me like, what do you do? Everybody wants a secret. Everybody wants to know what you're doing. And I said, there's absolutely no secret. It is hard work. It is consistency and it's persistence. That's it. I was like, we literally post every single day, the last 8 years, nonstop, showing up, even when no one's watching, even like you have to believe in your message. You have to have that passion because yes, there are times that people weren't watching. There were people, there was no likes, there was no nothing. And it's like, but I really believed in something. I was like, I want to bring happy back. I was like, I feel like we've normalized unhappiness.
Yes.
We have normalized women being miserable and hating their husbands and hating their kids and everyone just drinking because we're miserable, like the housewives and all that. Like it's all fun, but like there is a point where when do we start motivating women? When do we start showing women that they can? When do we inspire women to get back up and get dressed and look fabulous, feel fabulous? Like, when did we stop doing that? And I was like, I'm going to bring it back. If it's the last thing I do, I'm going to have every single woman up and dressed feeling fabulous. I was like, that is my mission in life. Like, I love it.
I used to work at Entertainment Tonight online.
You did?
And I would stay late and watch, like they had a huge catalog of videos.
Yeah.
And just like of old interviews.
Yeah.
And I used to like love Jennifer Lopez and I would watch hours of her interviews. The thing that she always said in these interviews was like, the only difference between me and somebody who didn't make it was I didn't give up.
That's it. It's the effort you're willing to make. That's it.
So.
That really is, because you look at me and I have friends who we were all started around the same time. And I had literally had a friend that I surpassed who was, the big one. And then I surpassed her. And she literally was like, nobody works like you. She goes, I would not be able to do what you do. She was like, you put in everything. And I was like,
awesome.
That is the only way. You can't half-ass it and expect to be successful. No one's coming to save you. No one's coming to help you. No one's going to knock on the door and hand you your best life. You got to choose it. You got to want it. You got to work for it.
Hell yes.
Hell yes. And you can and you should.
I have some rapid fire questions for you.
Okay, let's do it.
Okay, one thing that every woman should try once.
Skydiving.
Really?
It was like life-changing. I'm not joking. It was like so freeing. It was like you jump.
Not what I thought you were going to say.
That's the truth. Like that was one of those things. I'm like an adventure seeker. So we love that stuff. And to me, it's like, remind yourself that you're alive. Like
I don't know. I feel my heartbeat pretty good here on the ground.
Or I would say, to me, travel. Like if you have not been anywhere, like go travel somewhere. Or travel alone. Like find that independence. There is something so empowering about it.
What's one place you think everybody...
Personally, Africa was the greatest experience of our lives. We did all of Tanzania.
Amazing.
It was our honeymoon. And we literally went 3 weeks.
How cool.
Life-changing. When you see that, you will never complain again.
How often should we wash our jeans?
Once a week.
What's an acceptable number of days between duplicating outfits?
Ooh. I'm actually okay with duplicating. I think it's kind of cool now that everyone's showing how to use things in your closet and not so much spend and waste. So I kind of appreciate this new trend of people shopping their closets. And I have friends who will wear the same thing, like maybe 2 days in a row, they actually wore the same dress. And I was like, it's kind of ballsy and I like it. Yeah. But I think I think within a week, like 1 week and then the next week repeat it, I would never even notice or care.
You had Thanksgiving dinner with Michael Jackson?
Oh, shit. I did. What? I did. So my sister's ex-husband was an old doctor.
Okay.
Not the doctor. No, not the doctor. The doctor before, who was actually trying to help him get clean.
Wow.
And can't say too much, obviously, but he did for a time, was very close to their family, obviously, and we were all at Thanksgiving at my sister's house and he was there and I sat next to him.
He must have loved you because you're so entertaining.
Actually, he told me I looked like Lisa Marie Presley.
I can see that.
And I was like, what? And then he invited me to Disney World, to Disneyland to rent it. And I said, no. I was like, I don't want to be a part of this crazy. But I was like, love your music, but no, we're good.
What's something you know you shouldn't take personally, but you still do?
Other people's opinions.
Regardless of whether you're 19 or 99, what's the one piece of advice or encouragement you think all women need to hear right now?
You are never too old. It is never too late to find your happy.
What's a book that changed your life? Something you think everybody should read?
Oh, wow. I thought The Red Tent was amazing.
Amazing.
Amazing. And I also loved House in the Sky.
I've never heard of that.
Oh, it's the true story of the journalist that was held hostage for 18 months in Somalia.
Whoa.
And it was the one story that I read and I thought, the human spirit is the strongest thing on the planet and you can survive anything.
I love stories about
It's the best book. My friend read it in a day because you can't put it down.
Wow.
I think they're making a movie. So good. Those are my two, I remember the Red 10. I wish I could read it again for the first time. That's how I felt.
It's on my bookshelf at home.
You will love it.
Okay.
It's so good.
Grab the Question Everything card game,
Okay.
please. Pick whichever one calls you.
Okay. What game have you spent the most hours playing?
Ooh.
Oh. Pictionary.
You're really full of surprises.
I love Pictionary.
That's so fun.
And then one of those cards, what's the card? The Humanity?
Yeah, Cards Against Humanity.
You know, like with friends.
Yes.
We love, and
That's a great one.
What's the other one we love? Roomy Cube.
Great one.
Favorite that we play with the kids. I play with John sometimes. Fun, hot Saturday night. We'll have a drink and we'll play Roomy Cube. That's what happens when you're 52. But it's fun.
What is the smartest decision you've ever made?
Marrying John.
He just raised his hand. He knew that was coming.
It's true. Best decision I ever made. And
so sweet.
Taking that first photo and starting Shop with Caroline. If I can't fathom now what I would look like, what I would feel like, and what I'd be doing if I hadn't started that one day.
You're amazing.
I love you.
I love
amazing.
you too. You're so fabulous.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for this.
This never gets old. This is my greatest joy, and getting to meet women like you is the greatest joy. I'm so lucky and I'm grateful to have you in my corner.
You're so kind. I'm a fan and a friend.
Oh, me too. For life.
Thank you.
Love you.